Hello, everyone. We're back for another Weather Extra. It has been an interesting couple of days with all this wintry weather that we've had, but of course, we're here to break down the latest information. So, what we know right now, a lot of areas in the Northwest still have a good deal of patchy roadways, and they're also dealing with some overnight temperatures, as you can see right now. Lots of us in some teens for the lows tonight. We could see some wind chills tomorrow morning, get into some negatives for our Tennessee communities, but most of us single-digit degrees. It's going to be quite chilly, quite frigid out the door. I know a lot of schools have gone ahead and made sure they were I think they are making sure a couple of schools are doing 2-hour delays, 3-hour delays, so things of that nature. Just making sure that the students are not having to stand outside in this frigid weather. Now, for our Northwestern folks that still have roadways that are impassable, and that's specifically Lauderdale County, Colbert County had a couple. Even I believe Lawrence County as well had a couple areas that were a little tough to drive through. We're just now getting storm reports from some of those local EMA offices, basically where they're letting us know, hey, there's a couple trees down here. I know Waterloo had quite a few trees down, and I believe that's where our Aria Pons was earlier. I believe that's where she was during her shot earlier, giving us the latest updates in her neck of the woods and the shoals. So it's a lot of folks that are still dealing with the leftover effects from the forecast that we've seen these past couple of days. So all but 3 counties are under a cold weather advisory, and that's solely because of our temperatures going into tomorrow morning. We're still seeing a lot of areas with teens in the forecast, but those feel like temperatures, and I'll show you kind of how that's all playing into one another as far as our wind gusts go as well. A lot of areas may feel close to 1 degree, 0, negative. There's a couple of our northernmost communities that we cover that are probably going to see that early in the morning. So this is going through 10 a.m. on Tuesday. We expired our first alert weather day earlier this evening, just because we're now kind of in the thick of a repeating pattern of cold weather. We've got another blast of Arctic air coming through, actually going into this upcoming weekend. But again, I'll get to that in a moment. So here's our potential wind gusts overnight tonight. It dies down a little bit, but you'll notice as we get into 6, 7, 8 o'clock, we start picking it up. By 9 and 10:30 tomorrow morning, lots of us will have about 20 mile per hour wind gusts at times. Strong winds, and what that causes is our temperatures to feel much cooler than where they are at the moment. So that's where we're getting that cold weather advisory from. Because you may read on your phone or even maybe a thermostat that it says outside it's about 12 degrees, or you may be around 20 degrees. And it's not going to feel that way. It's going to feel much cooler due to these wind gusts, and that's a large concern, and that's another reason a lot of these schools are pushing back their hours to delay in the morning. We aren't really worried about a lot of these roadways except for our northwesternmost communities. Most roadways, as we've been told, most of them have been reopened, but there are a couple. And especially for our folks in the shoals, they know a lot better than we do, but a couple of those roads are still impassable, and that's solely due to trees. I believe one storm report we saw had about an inch of ice accumulation on a tree branch. Several have been that way, and that's one of the reasons we're seeing a lot of these trees bend, and then they start to fall and make our roads a little tough to pass through. So make sure you are driving safely, especially for those folks on that end of the valley. So looking ahead to about 8:30 tomorrow morning. A lot of our communities in single digits, and this is our feel-like temperatures. So Pulaski, for example, 6 degrees, and Leoma's at 4. Taking it back to Alabama, we have Meridianville and Athens, Scottsboro, Fort Payne, Albertville, Coleman. Haleyville and Russellville, single digit feel like temperatures. We do have a couple of 10 and 11s in the mix here in Huntsville. We're expecting to feel about 10 degrees, but still all around that is brutally cold. When I got ready to get out of here last night, it was frigid, bone chilling cold. Just getting my work bag into the car was tough. It was very chilly. So please make sure you are bundling up and using your layers to your best ability. So here's what we're looking at the moment. A lot of us aren't seeing much beyond a bit of our ground clutter there. We're still keeping an eye on things. It's going to be quite dry this week as well. So go into the next couple of days. There we go. I was waiting for Max to catch up with me. So road temperatures right now, we're seeing them in those below freezing conditions. Some areas that still have some flooding, minimal flooding, or even if they still had patchy ice on the roadways, you're still going to see that going into tomorrow. But what we are anticipating is that once we get into the early morning hours, we start to see these temperatures come up a bit to the 20s on the roads as far as 7 a.m., as early as 7 a.m. And then as we go into the afternoon, start to see 40s and 50s back into our road temperatures, which would be perfect and optimal levels for a lot of our areas to melt some of that ice off. And then it's plenty of sunshine tomorrow, although it looks pretty, but it feels very cold. A lot of our highs are stepping up past freezing as well. We'll see 40 out of Thursday, but it's going to be quite cloudy. We get back into those 30s on Friday and low end 30s as another blast of Arctic air comes through, knocks us back into the teens overnight, Friday night into Saturday. So we'll keep another blast of that coming through, and cold weather is going to stick around. It's January for sure. As we get to the weekend, we'll see things completely dry out. We won't really see a second wave of any winter precipitation. It'll just be that chilly weather that we're all not looking forward to. But again, make sure you are bundling up as possible. Going into next week, the only chance for precipitation looks like it's going to be Wednesday. And we're still a little far out to tell how that's going to look. But right about now, we're thinking about 20 to 30% chance of rain. But as we get closer to that day, of course, we'll walk you through it and give you a full look at that forecast. I'll be on at 10 o'clock tonight, so make sure you tune in and get a full look at your forecast and to see how things are looking in your neck of the woods. And with that, I'm going to close out this the stream here. I'll be here for Brad. He'll be back Thursday and Friday, so I will see you each evening for the next few days. Have a good night.